Welcome to this week's video. This week we were able to get the walls painted and to get some of the floor in, so stay along. I'll show you the process. There's a video in the corner of how everything looked. So we got those beams sanded down also and varnished, but just kind of look around. Once we got everything painted, I didn't get a ton of video of the paint because painting is kind of boring, as they say. Nothing more boring than watching paint dry. But I was pretty happy with how it turned out. The colors went well with the colors of the beams, and the beams actually worked out pretty well. We just used a grinder with a brush on it, so it's actually technically made for metal, but it worked well at getting all that dirt and grime off of the beams, as you can see here, and getting everything clean. There's a couple places where bugs had got in, termites or whatever, and made little trails in the wood. So that's kind of a bummer, but I don't think you can see it too much, so it didn't work. It doesn't bother me that much because it's not that noticeable, but it made a lot of dust doing this, so I don't have a ton of video of that either because, well, it's just be video of pure dust, as you can see here in this clip. So once we had got all the beams dusted off or cleaned off, then we had varnished it, just covered everything with varnish, so the house smelled like varnish. So we opened up the windows and doors for a bit there to try to help with that. And then we also decided to paint these boards between the beams because my wife thought it looked nice, and I agree with her. It did turn out really nice. Painted it kind of light, first of all, sanded the boards down a bit so the paint would at least stick, and then just did a pretty light coat across all of it. Taped off the beams as best we could. Kept on when we clean because we got some paint drips on, but other than that, it'll work out. There was this board strip that I put along the kitchen, it's going to be above the kitchen counters, that I put along to help hold the end of those boards above, and we decided to paint that white also so it doesn't stick out, so it kind of blends with the rest of the house. While we were doing this, so the other guys were doing most of the painting, I grouted the tile in my bathroom. I'm still working on getting my bathroom finished up, but I'll give you a video of that process. But I was grouting the tile and was able to get it all grouted and then washed off in my shower area. As you can see here, this is where my shower is going to be. So cleaned off nicely, and I think it turned out pretty good with the the light grout with the dark tile, and then also I kind of mixed some tiles in my shower to give it a little more so it wouldn't get too top heavy because of how skinny it was going to be. So this is just me washing the tile, cleaning it all up, making sure it's all nice and clean. And then here's a look at the bathroom for now. And then after we got all the painting done, we got to work at putting the floor down. So we first of all put a big barrier down, glued that to the concrete, and then started working at putting the floorboards down. I don't know how well everything's going to work out here, but my floorboards might be just a little loose because there's really not a great way of adhering them. I didn't want to screw or nail my floorboards down because I'm sure I would poke the pipes that are running for my floor heat. So they might be just a little loose. I'm hoping that it'll all work out fine, and that pipes in the back that you see there is for coming from my stove to feed my floor heat. And I also decided to put my floorboards at an angle from the stove, basically, so at a 45 degrees, which worked nicely with the square. I was able to make a nice angle cut. Thankfully, my brother-in-law sent me a square in the mail. I don't know if you can find framing squares around here. It seems like I've never seen them at the hardware store, but they sure are handy for doing a 45 cut like that and getting it every yeah, getting everything perfect. So especially for the way I decided to do my floor. While we were doing that, I had a guy digging my septic, so here's where my septic tank's gonna be, and then he's digging the lines out through my field. He first of all kind of leveled out all the sand that we had pulled out in my basement, and then started digging my septic so that hopefully we can get that installed next week if everything works out. And then back to my floor, so this still look good. Thus getting that angle on the boards correctly, and then getting them fitted in place. So we just laid them down and glued them to each other, so hopefully the glue to each other holds. I'll have to figure out something for my trim because the mud walls are not very straight at all at the bottom, so it's gonna have to be a wide trim piece or something to cover up that cut in the very bottom corner, but we'll see what works out. Let's see if I can get an innovative solution. Might just have to use a really wide trim piece or something. I don't know how that's gonna work out. I also have a bit of cracks in my floor, and there's a bit of an unevenness because these boards are not cut very evenly, but we'll have to do a lot of sanding to get it nice and smooth, and then varnish it well. There's something on top to, yeah, make sure it's a nice clean floor when it's all done. And so here's a look at how we glued the boards and then how we cut them and put them together for the butt joints. We also sat concrete blocks on top of them to the butt joints where they were, so that hopefully it would hold it together better while the glue dried. So we kind of worked the concrete blocks behind us and kept cutting and bringing the floor over. And then here's a look around after we were all done. You can see this is the entrance to the house right here, a step down, and then this is where the kitchen's gonna be, and the beams up above, we got that painted, with the ceiling painted white too. And then we'll turn and you can see the floorboards, how that looks. There's a little bit of variance in the floorboards, but I think they look nice. I think it's better than any other type of flooring that I could do. And then the steps over there that are varnished, the ones that are done. Next week, I'm hoping to get the railing started on that, so that's going to be fun to watch. This is kind of how the railing's going to look there. And then this is what it looks like right now. Thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you next week.